Well, praise Jesus. Thank you for joining me once again. I'm Michael Tobin, your Lookout Guy on the Lookout Guy podcast. And it is Saturday, October 23rd, 2021. And I don't really spend too much time focusing on things about myself to share about. It's usually about other things. But for the record, once in a while, I will pour out my heart and share something for the record, for reference, mostly for who? Well, for you, the listener, and my children and grandchildren one day when they think to themselves, what has Dad been, or what has Grandpa been podcasting about? So, I do this for the listener and for future references. Last month was pretty interesting because I was interviewed for a second time on an online interview program called The Gift with Jeannie Poulton, wife of Paul Poulton, and daughter-in-law. I had to think of all the family relations, stepdaughter, daughter-in-law, but a daughter-in-law of Pastor D.B. Poulton, who was about 86 years old, all from the United Kingdom. Jeannie Poulton and Paul Poulton, they are both original Jesus movement contemporary artists from the days of the Jesus movement that began actually in the late 1960s and into the early 1970s, mainly through the late Pastor Chuck Smith's church, Calvary Chapel. And I've said it a few times, I had no idea that the United Kingdom was actually part of the Jesus movement, but yes, they were. Think of Graham Kendrick, Chris Eaton, Eaton, and others in the United Kingdom. So I have been privileged to be friends with Paul and Jeannie ever since at least 2010, so about 11 years. And it was probably a year ago I was interviewed for the first time by Jeannie. And this one was from, I think it was late last month. And it was finally aired a couple days ago. So it was an interview with her and myself. Following that, on this Oceans 11 plus one or more, but I like to call it Oceans 11 because it's going to be an awesome compilation of indie artists that I have mainly featured on my podcast for the past year and a half plus. During this I'll just call it the germ season that we've been going through. And even prior to that, I've been focusing on indie. And thank goodness my dirty work for today is already done. My previous podcast was about the actor Alec Baldwin. Is he innocent or guilty? And I think he's innocent, but you can listen to it to see for yourself the things that I bring up as your lookout guy. Because as a lookout guy, the watchman, there's a whole myriad of things that a watchman reports on, right? So I do a little current events and news here and there, but I really enjoy being on the lookout for indie artists that you will enjoy. So I'm just going to play a fun interview that I had with Jeannie. Oh, and speaking of Oceans 11, Jeannie and Paul are part of the Oceans 11, and I'm going to have some music from them as well. And I will give you the lineup after this interview.
Hello to you, Michael, in California, and here I am in the West Midlands, UK, and welcome to The Gift today. Now, Michael, you have a lovely gift of communication because you are such a good communicator and you have a really good rapport with people. So what makes you a good communicator?
think that the number one thing is, if you go back to the story in the Bible with one of the messengers.
Okay.
He was a fast runner, and one king sent him to give a message to another king, and he ran so fast that he passed up the first messenger because he was a fast runner.
Yeah.
And when he got to the king says, "Oh, you brought a message. What's the message?" And basically, he's like, "I don't know. I just made it before the other messenger." So the moral of that analogy is if you're going to be a messenger, it doesn't matter how talented you may be or how skillful you may be, you better have a message.
Yeah.
So to have a message, have something to say, is the number one thing.
And that's a great point, actually, Michael. Yeah, you need a message to say, don't you?
Yeah, so, the challenge is to make it sound interesting.
Of course, yeah, of course.
And I'm in my own opinion of myself, I don't think I'm really that interesting. I kind of I kind of go with the flow, and it turns out to be a little more comedic than serious sometimes.
Well, Michael, I know that you have your own podcast, and so therefore you must do a lot of research and prep, ready to engage your listeners. I mean, would you agree?
I would agree. I do a tremendous amount of research, and then by the time that I'm able to get down to the brass tacks of doing it, it's almost as if I literally have to depend wholly on the Holy Spirit's guidance, and it doesn't really go according to my notes. If I was a professional with a production team, because I've researched all of my favorite podcasts, news podcasts, Christian podcasts, and they all have like 12 people doing research for them.
Wow.
And even on the radio stations, I used to think that they were witty and they were on the edge.
Yeah.
And one of the guys slipped on a radio show. You know, they've got 3 hours to, keep people on their radios listening. And the guy says, "Well, I'm just reading what they gave me with the way the director told me to."
Wow.
And I was like, "Oh, wow, it's not really from off the cuff."
No, it's not like that, is it?
I don't have a production team. It's just me, myself, and I.
Yeah, and I think you're good at speaking.
Me, myself, and I.
Well, you're good at speaking off the cuff, and that's what makes you a great communicator as well. So, Michael, you have your podcast. So what resources would you say have actually helped you along the way?
Oh, I've been pondering that lately.
Okay.
The most helpful resources, I would say, is a brand new one called Anchor.fm. So if you type in Anchor.fm, it'll take you to the podcast source. That's a new one, and it's owned by Spotify. So Spotify now has two main podcast platforms, Spotify and Anchor. The other one would be Spreaker.com. Those are the most helpful two that I'm able to create podcasts on. And the most helpful platform that Spreaker.com auto-generates to is iHeartRadio. Do they have iHeartRadio in the UK?
I'm not sure. Is the answer to that.
But that has more than a majority of radio stations on their platform. So if I'm driving through Oklahoma, I could tune in to at least a few radio stations in that state and get the current news from where I'm at.
Wow, that's amazing. And what advice would you give to someone wanting to present a podcast? You're a good person to ask.
I would advise them to go to Spreaker.com, and I wish I could get royalties from them. I'm not advertising for them, but Spreaker.com is the most useful platform. And any podcast platform, you have to get to know it. so you can operate it. But I would go to Spreaker.com, and I would suggest that they have the time and the energy to put in the effort.
Yes. Yeah.
If they want to do something that their goal is to be viral.
Okay. So what would you say then were your goal objectives?
With podcasting, my goal objective is to be as effective for the gospel that I can, given the situation that I'm in as being part of the workforce. If you read business magazines, we learn how important we are being in the workforce, whether it's production, factory, farming, the food industry, retail, whatever part of the economy you're working for, punching in a clock or, writing your time down.
Yeah.
So that would be, what was the question again? I get lost.
What is your goal objective?
Given my circumstances, my goal objective is to be just as effective for the gospel that I can.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
That's good. And so, Michael, are there any resources or advice that has helped you with your journey so far?
The resources for my journey, notwithstanding podcasting, has been ministry organizations, mainly first responder and critical response Christian versions. To where if I have the time, if I have a couple of weeks to spare, I would go with the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association to disaster sites.
Wow. And
sleep on a cot, sleep in a basement somewhere, or sleep in a Kmart. I've done all of those. I've slept in a gym, a community college gym, and I slept in a parsonage. A church's property home. It's like a guest home. Sometimes the pastors live in the parsonage. So I would go to a disaster response. But those have been my most prolific resources.
Yeah.
So when you continue the gospel.
Yeah. When you go to these disaster areas, what is it really like? Because you're there, you're actually there. We can imagine, but what do you think it's really like?
It's very heartwarming in many ways, and it's full of profound situations. Like one situation that I was in Louisiana after Hurricane Katrina.
Right.
And it was in the city of Shreveport. And we were able to go in the city after another hurricane. They got hammered twice. And I went there after the two. And there was a business owner, and he requested aid from Franklin Graham's Samaritan's Purse organization, and I was a chaplain with the Billy Graham Rapid Response Team.
Okay.
Well, I was to interview the store owner, the business owner, to get his address and what happened, how many people were going to be having over at his home. And he couldn't use his hands.
Wow.
And he had to write with his foot. So at the end, I says, okay, if you could just sign your name right here. And he grabbed a pen with his toes and did his signature.
Amazing.
And I had poker face. It didn't faze me a bit. And as they say, there was no wrinkle in his eyebrows.
Yeah.
But that was a very profound, and that stuck with me on, wow, this is awesome. it's just awesome. You never know who you're going to meet.
No, exactly.
And then there were salvation instances also.
Can you tell
ministering challenges.
Tell us about one of them then.
One of them was with the man. He was probably 40, 41 years old. And before Hurricane Katrina, the month before that happened, his wife died of cancer. And then a month later, Hurricane Katrina happened, and his home was destroyed. So when I went there, it was actually a year after Katrina happened. And it was after one that got Louisiana and Texas. And it was horrible. It was called Hurricane Rita. So people could web search Rita, Hurricane Rita. And he looked like, he looked horrible. No smile, no expression on his face, lost eyes. His stare was just lost. And a young man from a church that was ministering, the same place where we were ministering, him and I spoke to this guy. And the young man, he was probably 23 years old. And I may have been about 44 at the time. I'm not sure. But I'm 57 now. He's the first one to say, would you like to ask Jesus into your heart? And he says, sure, I will. So we prayed for his salvation. And then all of a sudden, it's just like so many testimonies. He felt a weight lift him. And he felt an overwhelming sense of joy. And his countenance literally changed from stony and a lost stare to a gleam in his eye and an appearance of joy and smiling. And he says, you know, I haven't smiled for a whole year. Wow. So that was a blessing.
Yeah, that is an amazing story. That really is of a transformation.
He could have grown into a hard heart, a root of bitterness. Who knows?
Exactly.
Without somebody to be with them to listen.
Yeah, that's an amazing story of how the Lord can change somebody's life. So, Michael, what would you say inspires you?
What inspires me are people such as yourself and your father-in-law, Pastor D.B. Poulton, and Paul. You pour out your hearts daily. And so people who are not afraid to pour out their hearts or to share or to be apt to teach is very inspiring, because I've been in the Lord since 1989, 30 plus years, faithfully.
Yes. After
a 10-year backslide, and I still seek messages. There used to be cassettes and CDs, and now we have the internet, and I still have to find what people have to say concerning the Lord. We all need encouragement. So people who are apt to share is very inspiring.
Yeah, I would agree with
that. May be why I'm so interested in podcasting.
Yeah, and your podcasts, I've listened to them, and I can say they are really good, and they sort of captivate you, you know, when you listen to them as well. And I think that is lovely when somebody wants to listen to them. You want to be captivated by what that person or persons are saying. So, Michael, how can people, your listeners, listen to your podcasts?
I would have them go to a web search and just type in Michael DT, the Lookout Guy. And as you scroll through the results, you'll see the URLs, the websites of various different podcasts, and one of them may be one that they already have an account with.
Great. That sounds really good. So people can listen to you. Michael, thank you for joining me for the gift today. And what a gift you have. A wonderful communicator for the Lord. So thank you for joining me today.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Michael.
All right, thank you for joining me. I'm Michael Tobin, your Lookout Guy, and you're listening to the Lookout Guy podcast. Thank you for listening, and you get free downloads on the Lookout Guy. What I have been waiting for such a long time is my Oceans 11 Indie Comp podcast. And today I have Somewhere Over the Rainbow with my friend Katy Treharne. These are all people that have been my Oceans 11 plus one, as a matter of fact. So that's 12. 8 songs and 12 artists. And we also have a new one to Oceans 12 who have been here for me and you on the Lookout Guy podcast for over a year and a half, over a year and a half during this germ time and beyond for the past couple years since I've been doing my podcast for focusing on indie. So we've also got Vini Contreas. He is a new one to the group with his cover of a friend of his song, the late lead singer of Boston, the song More Than a Feeling, and Vedi and Imran Ahmed, their cover of Sweet Home Alabama. And these are all 8 of these songs are from about 2021, mostly till about 2019, and even before that. I've got Ricky Davis, a sneak peek of the Grand Reset. I've also got 3 Days in the Grave. So they are counted as one, but they are 3. Gregg Wietstock, the bassist, backup vocals. Robert and Jean. Robert Tyler and Jean Copley. Copley on the drums and Tyler on lead guitar and lead vocals. And Jean also on backup vocals. We've got the Tourmaliners with Point Break. We've got Paul and Jeannie Poulton from the United Kingdom with their cover of Midnight in Harlem from their album Heaven. And Imran Ahmed again from his Project X with David Pollard cheering Tokyo, his band, with their song Heavy Metal Thunder. So stay tuned. Thank you again for joining me on The Lookout Guy. Now let's get into some killer indie music on this episode of Oceans 11 plus 1.
Behind the sun, just lost myself in a familiar song. I closed my eyes and I slipped away.
Well, a 500,000 will remember. I saw the man turning him around, anyhow. Sweet home Alabama, where the skies are so blue. Sweet home Alabama, Lord, I'm coming home to you. And again, the love that's going on. And now we'll take what we could do. Now what I get does not bother me. Not the conscience bother you. Tell the truth. Sweet home Alabama, where the skies are so blue. Sweet home Alabama, Lord, I'm coming home to you. Because on a two, Lord, they get me up so much. Or they pick me up when I'm feeling blue. Now how about you? Sweet home Alabama, where the skies are so blue. Sweet home Alabama, Lord, I'm coming home. Sweet home Alabama, where the skies are so blue. Sweet home Alabama, Lord, I'm coming home to you. Sweet home Alabama.
All right. Yeah.
Great reset. Take us within take away the police, the ones that protect. And where you gonna run when you won't comply? You wanna defect, indoctrinate our children, remove the history, program them to forget. It's all planned. Oh yeah, the Great Reset. The Great Reset. Take us down within, yeah. New World Order, the ones we trusted. They're all in on it. Wanna leave you defenseless. Take away all the guns. Yeah. And poison us with pandemics. Vapor trails that block out the sun. The New World Order. Try to reset our lives. The New World Order. Trying to reset our lives. The Great Reset.
And that is the great, extraordinaire Ricky Davis, who I have been featuring on the Lookout Guy podcast for the past couple years. That is The Great Reset. Before that was Vedi, awesome, talented, extinguished classical artist, songwriter, very, very talented in singing, vocals, piano, keyboards, violin. She does theater, classical, and you heard, I encourage you to look her up. It's A-N, Vedi, V-E-D-I, and she is from Russia. And she was playing along with the great Imran Ahmed from Pakistan. He does compilations with all kinds of indie artists, but it was their cover of Leonard Skinner's Sweet Home Alabama. Before that was More Than a Feeling, a cover from Boston's song More Than a Feeling by Vini Contreas, and he is actually friends with the original lead singer, the late lead singer of Boston back in the 70s. And so he is a very accomplished contemporary Christian artist, good friend of mine. And before that was from another friend, Katy Treharne. She's been in theater in United Kingdom all over. And her version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Coming up is My Love for You from 3 Days in the Grave. The band from Southern California here. And Gregg Wietstock is the bassist, backup vocals, and Jeannie Copley is the drummer and backup vocals, and Robert Tyler is the lead guitarist, lead vocals of that band. And they're going to be performing this month, actually, next month in Bellflower. So I look forward to going to them. I've been to all of their gigs for the past year and a half. It's amazing. So that's My Love for You, followed by Paul and Jeannie Poulton, their version of Midnight in Harlem from their album Heaven by the Paul Poulton Project. After that will be Point Break, a new one from the surf band The Tourmaliners, and Imran Ahmed Project X again, along with David Pollard of Cheering Tokyo. Their song Heavy Metal Thunder, also from this year. So thank you again for joining me on The Lookout Guy. I'm Michael Tobin, your Lookout Guy on the Lookout Guy podcast.
to the city. I was running from the past. My heart was bleeding, and it hurt my bones to laugh. Stayed in the city, no exception to the rule. He was born to love me. I was raised to be his fool, his fool.
exploding like dynamite. Lovers of metal will unite. We'll rock on, that is alright. I got this feeling, the storm clouds rolling in, the lightning crashing down, and we create this heavy metal thunder. Heavy metal thunder. It's heavy metal thunder. Heavy metal thunder, baby. I got this feeling, the storm clouds rolling in, the lightning crashing down, and we create this heavy metal thunder. Heavy metal thunder, baby.
Alright, alright, alright.